Logan Paul's talk is on his phone backstage. Seth Rollins walks up and tells Paul, Jey Uso's going to get hurt tonight because he stuck his nose in my business. Come Saturday, he's not going to be 100%, so the odds are going to be in your favor, Logan. And Seth said if Paul can get past Jey and Gunther, Seth is going to be waiting on the other side. On the and you know to thank if you win this weekend, basically. We could run it back from WrestleMania a couple of years ago, but this time with the world title on the line.
It took you, 14, 16 seconds, that range? For you to talk about Seth's promo, took him 5 hours. This spaced out, slow, cadence, this rhythm that he has. And these promos. In doing this, he makes himself seem like sinister and calculated, as if, I can take my time with this because I can see into the future and I'm a calculated, cunning guy. How do you not hate this? How do you not listen to him and think, oh God, great, Paul Levesque's little buddy is now the top heel on Raw, doing his be slow, make it more meaningful, drivel. I find him to be such a fake, synthetic wrestler in every pore of his being. He's not remotely entertaining. He is playing a role. He never convinces me that he's anything other than a good, loyal WWE soldier who is so competent. So competent. When was the last time Seth Rollins botched? When was the last time Seth Rollins flubbed a line? When's the last time he did anything that he would get buried for by management? It's like he is. When there's a football player in your team and the coach just has this irrational obsession with picking them week in, week out, because they do things that you can't see. And it's like, he's not Maverick. He's not entertaining. He's not charismatic. He's not particularly great in the ring. He's never really wrestled that many 5-star matches, even though he sort of performs in that style. But God damn it, if I put him in that pitch 3 p.m. on a Saturday, he's not going to make a mistake. He's not going to make a mistake. Seth Rollins is Sean Longstaff. Seth Rollins is the boring footballer who is just in your team and you like him again. Why? Because in this role, doesn't really make too many mistakes and he's dependable, thoroughly dependable. Seth Rollins. I cannot imagine I cannot comprehend anyone except Paul Levesque thinking, oh, yay. Seth Rollins is saying things and he's doing moves. I'm not being funny. I simply don't get it at all. And you know what this whole Seth run reminds me of? If I'm going to do an analogy here. So when just things get hot, and then things get hot, and because they're hot, a lot of artists rip off the things that are hot. And you get, like new metal, I'm trying to think of an example here. It's like, right, you got Korn and Limp Bizkit, right? Okay, well, Power Man 5000 are on the scene. And everyone's like, oh, they do the same riffs and they've got the similar look. I'll buy their record. Just because new metal's hot, we're doing Power Man 5000. We're doing American Head Charge. We're doing, Spine Shank. How the is Seth freaking Rollins the top heel in a boom period? How? Has he earned it? Does he warrant it?
People enjoy engaging with him, yeah. I think in the simplest form, yeah. I think people when he was a babyface, like singing his song. And that was enough.
Okay, well, just put Def Rebel in the main event of WrestleMania, and let's be done with it.
Mania.
Yeah, whatever. Change the show if you want. Have Def Rebel headline it. Doesn't matter, we're in a boom period, so much gets forgiven, and then you'll realize 5 years later how that Spine Shank get a platinum. I'll never.
This is a bit like.
Is that what?
Well, I would say this is a bit like. So, we all either make or don't make connections with wrestlers, and we're entitled to our own personal experience, even if it differs from a vast majority. I don't think it's a vast majority with Seth Rollins, but I think your experience of Seth Rollins differs from a large majority of WWE fans' experience of Seth Rollins. The only comparison I can think of recent times is when you just I can never connect with CM Punk as a babyface, and the man's out there getting monster.
I get it
monster
though.
pop.
I get it. He's a charismatic megastar, dude.
No, I know his work's amazing, but like you would say, I can never receive this guy as a babyface.
Yeah, 'cause he's a likable
I'll only
prick.
deeply connect with him when he turns heel because of your personal relationship with the character. I think funnily enough, Seth Rollins is the lightweight example of a CM Punk analogy. But like, I think that's happening here. I think there is I don't have any data on this, right? It's just enough of watching WWE. I don't think you can deny the obvious connection that Seth Rollins has with like WWE fans going back this decade, and because the decade counts as well. It's like it's all equity that he's built with this audience, and he does like. Here's maybe a better comparison. Neither of us ever gave a shit about The Undertaker.
No.
But the longer he stuck around, because more people put him in their Mount Rushmores, made him their double-goated, nobody can touch The Undertaker. We are absolutely in an era where people think like that of a Seth Rollins.
I get Taker. I get it. He's got a presence. He's got a mystique. The entrance, when it's done right, you buy it as, oh, God, someone's going to get their ass kicked by this invincible force. I'm talking about boom periods, okay? Yes, I can understand why Triple H had 2003 going for him. He married into the family, and the ratings went up. It's like, I get that.
And everybody else left.
Since a wrestler leading a boom period, I think I literally get the appeal of every single one of them, even if I'm personally not the biggest fan of them in the world.
Yeah.
I cannot fathom the Seth Rollins business. I know he's not led it. I know he's not instrumental in it. I didn't even like the bloodline. I thought the plotting was so much more like terrible and contrived and it was an idiot plot for 4 years. I got the appeal because Roman's cool as hell. Saw him in that bloody tracky. I loved the acting when he's like, the differences in the acknowledgements when he's rattled and like Lesnar's throwing chairs at him. He's like, acknowledge me, because he's like, that's all. I got the performance, I got the presence, I got the TV charisma, I got everything. Seth Rollins is at the top of the show when the boom period's already happening. It would never drive this. I'll never get this dude as long as I live. And it looks like, because we've been doing this for a decade, by the way.
We had a Seth Rollins chat, I think it was ahead of WrestleMania, similar one about like his...
I talk about this every week, bro.
About this like...
I'll never get it.
About like, I think I was more of a fan of how he'd wedged himself in and like...
He's a little...
And justified the spot, rather than I remember you thinking, what's he doing?
Yeah, but then for the last 5 minutes of the actual cool or intriguing Punk Roman interactions, Seth just stood there for 5 minutes and people forgot he was there.
I don't know, like, I think there is a lot to be said for...
He's got a single characteristic that you would equate with a megastar top wrestling.
Well, you have higher standards, right? I'm going somewhere with this. I think there is a lot of credit around the phrase part of the furniture. You don't.
No.
Seth Rollins is
not for a top star.
Maybe not for the top star.
Set me on fire.
But I don't think... Well, he will with his big flamethrower. But I don't think Seth Rollins occupies this very unique space, which is a little box labeled Seth Rollins' space. He is never the top guy. He is being presented here as a top guy on a show full of several top guys, but he is never the tippy top.
Maybe he's the top heel on the flagship. It's built around him, these shows.
The shows are being built around him, but look at the time of year we're in, just for example, right? Yeah. Like, and he is coming off the back of main event in a WrestleMania and been able to lay claim. He's always got things that he can lay claim to, for better and worse. I'm not arguing for everything he's ever done in his career. But like WWE has always pushed people who feel so part of the furniture that fans will always trust them. You know, like the best and worst example was the Kane Backlash Extreme Rules match, wasn't it? Well, it's Kane and Big Show, like the part of the furniture. Seth Rollins is like 50 times better part of the furniture example than a Kane or a Big Show. Like
I should hope so.
I'd take 100 Seth Rollins over one Kane, for example.
It's not the best argument.
Well, but I think it is.
I would take a kick to the balls over Kane.
Well, yeah.
No, seriously.
Yeah, I know. But
I said, sit down, no phone, watch an hour of Kane, or I'll kick in the balls once. That, please. Do it twice if you want, just to make sure.
At least send it over, yeah. I'm trying to articulate what I believe to be more than just he's a good soldier, he's the Triple H instruction follower. He is all those things. That's the reason why CM Punk didn't want to work him at WrestleMania, because he sees the difference between stars and not quite stars. But I don't think that's reflective of like the boom era audience, the boom era that we're speaking of, I think like him. I think they respond to him. I think they do respect him in this role. The way that WWE measures so much by numbers, we know this to be true as well, based on certain attributes of certain wrestlers and whatnot. Seth Rollins isn't in the spot if they don't trust those numbers and don't trust those reactions. And yes, everybody's got to be catered to.
Don't get it.
Yeah, I know you don't get it.
Yes.
I think
I never will.
Yeah, and I think Seth Rollins is gotten by large swathes of people to justify the spot.
I think I like singing this terrible song.